Lakeview Bridge's missing plaque, 1992 photo shows a man with a red umbrella on the morning of September 14, 1992. A maintenance worker for the Lakeview County Parks Department made a discovery that would remain unexplained for over 3 decades. While conducting a routine inspection of the Lakeview Bridge, a pedestrian overpass spanning the East Fork of the Bitterroot River in western Montana, Gerald Olson noticed that a bronze commemorative plaque had been removed from its mounting on the bridge's eastern railing. The plaque, which had been installed in 1967 to honor the bridge's completion and the workers who built it, was gone. Only FOUR Chinese letter holes, and faint oxidation stains remained where it had once sat. Gerald reported the missing plaque to his supervisor that afternoon, but what began as a minor act of vandalism would soon spiral into one of the region's most puzzling unsolved cases. Lakeview Bridge sits approximately 6 miles north of the town of Hamilton, Montana, a community of roughly 4,000 people nestled in the Bitterroot Valley. The bridge itself is a modest structure, 87 feet long and 12 feet wide, constructed from weathered steel and concrete. It connects a network of hiking trails on the west bank to a gravel parking area on the east, and it offers sweeping views of the Sapphire Mountains to the east and the Bitterroot Range to the west. In 1992, the bridge was a popular spot for locals and a few tourists, particularly during the autumn months when the valley's aspens turned brilliant gold. The area had a reputation for tranquility, a place where people walked their dogs, fished the river, and occasionally stopped to read the plaque that commemorated the bridge's history. That sense of peace would be disrupted not by the missing plaque itself, but by what was discovered in the weeks that followed its disappearance. The investigation into the theft began as a property crime. Deputy Sheriff Maria Cervantes of the Ravalli County Sheriff's Office was assigned to the case. She interviewed Gerald Olson, who confirmed that the plaque had been present during his last inspection on September 8, just 6 days earlier. He could not say exactly when it had been taken, as he had not walked the full length of the bridge between those dates. Deputy Cervantes photographed the empty mounting site and filed a report for theft of public property, a misdemeanor. It should have ended there. But on October 3, 1992, a woman named Diane Whitfield walked into the sheriff's office with a photograph that would change everything. Diane Whitfield was an amateur photographer from Missoula, roughly 45 minutes north of Lakeview. She had been hiking the trails near the bridge on September 13th, the day before Gerald discovered the missing plaque, and she had taken several photographs of the scenery. Among her rolls of film was a single image that she had initially dismissed as a mistake. The photograph showed the bridge from the west bank, framed by trees beginning to turn autumn colors. On the bridge itself, standing near the eastern railing where the plaque should have been, was a man. He was of medium build, dressed in a dark jacket and light-colored trousers. He held an umbrella, open despite the fact that the sky was clear that day. The umbrella was red. Deputy Cervantes recognized the significance immediately. She asked Diane Whitfield to surrender the original negative, which she did, and the photograph was sent to the Montana State Crime Lab for enhancement. The man in the photograph could not be identified. Enhanced imaging revealed few additional details. The man's face was turned away from the camera, showing only the side of his head and part of his shoulder. He appeared to be looking toward the eastern railing, toward where the plaque had been mounted. The umbrella, a standard-sized golf umbrella with a curved wooden handle, was held in his right hand. Lab technicians noted that the photograph had been taken at approximately 3:47 in the afternoon, based on the angle of the sun and shadows visible in other images from the same roll. The camera was a Canon AE1 program with a 50mm lens, and the film was Kodak Gold 200. No other photographs from that day showed the man, and Diane Whitfield did not recall seeing anyone on the bridge when she had been hiking. She had not noticed the man until she developed her photographs a week later. Deputy Cervantes expanded her investigation. She interviewed residents and businesses near the bridge, showing them copies of the photograph. No one recognized the man. She checked records for reported crimes in the area around Lakeview Bridge during September 1992. There were none. She contacted metal dealers and scrap yards across western Montana, looking for anyone who might have sold a bronze plaque matching the description of the one taken from the bridge. Nothing came of it. The plaque itself, weighing approximately 8 pounds and measuring 18 by 12 inches, never surfaced. It was as if the man with the red umbrella had vanished along with it. The investigation took a curious turn in early 1993. A retired history teacher named Harold Bennett came forward after hearing about the case from a friend at the Rotary Club. Bennett had been a young man in 1967 when the plaque was installed, and he remembered the dedication ceremony. He told Deputy Cervantes that the plaque had been commissioned not merely to commemorate the bridge, but to mark the site of a tragic accident that had occurred during its construction. On June 12, 1965, a worker named Thomas Weaver had fallen from the bridge's eastern side while securing a support beam. Weaver was 34 years old, married, and the father of 2 young daughters. He had been working for the C.H. McLeod Construction Company, the firm contracted to build the overpass. He died at the scene. The plaque, Bennett explained, had been placed not just to honor the bridge, but to serve as a memorial to Weaver. The ceremony had been modest, attended by Weaver's family and a handful of local officials, and the plaque had borne a simple inscription. In memory of Thomas Weaver, 1931-1965, whose labor built the way forward. This detail added a layer of meaning to the missing plaque and the man in the photograph. Deputy Cervantes wondered whether the theft might have been motivated not by the value of the bronze, but by a desire to erase or possess something connected to Thomas Weaver. She located Weaver's widow, Patricia, who had remarried and moved to Spokane, Washington. Patricia Weaver Klein was reluctant to speak about the incident. She told the deputy that she had not kept in touch with anyone from the construction company and that she had no idea who might want to take the plaque. She said she had been informed of the theft but had not planned to return to Montana to see the investigation for herself. When asked if she recognized the man in the photograph, she said she could not tell from the image and declined to speculate. The interview lasted 12 minutes. In 1995, Deputy Cervantes left the Ravalli County Sheriff's Office to take a position with the Montana Department of Justice in Helena. The Lakeview Bridge case was reassigned, but received little attention over the following years. The file gathered dust in a storage room in Hamilton. The photograph of the man with the red umbrella was filed away, one of thousands of unsolved cases across the state. The plaque was never recovered. Thomas Weaver's name faded from local memory, known now only to a few older residents and the families who had known him. The case might have remained forgotten had it not been for a journalist named Claire Aldridge, who began researching cold cases for a feature in the Masolian newspaper in 2019. Aldridge came across the Lakeview Bridge file through a public records request and published a story in October of that year titled "The Man on the Bridge." The article drew little attention at first, but it was picked up by a true crime podcast based in Seattle, and by early 2020, the case had attracted a small but devoted following online. Amateur investigators scrutinized the photograph, attempting to enhance the image further using modern software. Some believed they could see a shape in the man's pocket, possibly a second object. Others noted that the umbrella appeared to be vintage, perhaps from the 1960s or 1970s, and suggested that the man might have been older than he appeared. None of these theories led to identification. In 2021, a retired carpenter named Robert Fitch came forward with a startling claim. Fitch, then 78 years old, lived in a nursing home in Stevensville, Montana. He contacted Claire Aldridge through her editor and said he had information about the Lakeview Bridge case. Aldridge visited him on March 7, 2021. Fitch told her that he had known Thomas Weaver in 1965. They had worked together on the bridge construction for 3 months before Weaver's death. Fitch said he had not been present on the day of the accident, but he had heard about it from other workers. He claimed that Weaver's death had not been accidental, though he offered no evidence to support this, and said he had never told anyone what he believed. When Aldridge asked if he knew who might have taken the plaque, Fitch grew quiet. He said he had seen a man near the bridge in 1992, though he had not reported it at the time. The man had been standing on the bridge with an umbrella. Fitch said he had not gotten a good look at the man's face, but he had recognized something about his posture, a way of standing that reminded him of someone. When asked who, Fitch declined to say. He told Aldridge that some things were better left in the past. He died 4 months later, in July 2021, and no further information was obtained from him. The Lakeview Bridge remains in use today. The eastern railing has been repaired and now bears a simple metal plate identifying the bridge by its official name and construction date. There is no mention of Thomas Weaver, no memorial, no indication that anything unusual ever happened there. Hikers pass over it without pausing, their attention fixed on the mountains or the river below. The missing plaque has never been found, and the man in the photograph has never been identified. Deputy Cervantes, now 71 and living in Helena, told Claire Aldridge in a 2022 interview that the case remained open in her mind. She said she had thought about it often over the years, wondering who the man was and why he had taken the plaque. She said the red umbrella troubled her most. It was an unusual thing to carry on a clear September day, and the fact that the man had stood exactly where the plaque had been seemed too deliberate to be coincidence. She said she had never stopped believing that someone, somewhere, knew the truth. What happened to Thomas Weaver's memorial, and who removed it from Lakeview Bridge on a clear September afternoon in 1992? Was the man with the red umbrella a stranger to the valley, drawn there by something he alone knew about, or was he someone who had carried the memory of Weaver's death for 27 years? And if Robert Fitch truly recognized something in that man's posture, why did he take his secret to his grave? The plaque is gone. The man is gone. Only the photograph remains, a single frame from a day in 1992, frozen in the autumn light, holding its